Let me put
All
my healing ointment on
right.
my nose.
All right, we've had one heck
Yeah.
of an afternoon. I kind of knew starting exactly at 3 was going to be a terrible. Oop. Oop.
What happened? What was that?
That was the me having the other chat, having the actual live link up, make sure that everything worked. um, yeah, sorry about that. We were trying to get fancy with how we stream into YouTube and we failed. So back to good old
No.
StreamYard.
Listen, Riverside. We are some of your first customers. We've been using you for what, a little over a year now. We love you. We love you, Riverside. However, we have been trying a couple times to use Riverside to live stream to the YouTube. We have followed all the directions step by step on your little blog post, and it ain't working. Can someone
Mm-mm.
please help us? Okay. Can someone please help us?
It
Thank
doesn't
you.
work. It doesn't work. I am
Email
convinced
us,
it's not.
tbrlowdown@gmail.com. We need help. tbrlowdown@gmail.com. Help us. Thanks. Okay.
I'm convinced it's like never gonna work, but I'm a negative Nancy. So I'm just gonna go with the fact that it's never gonna work. And one day I'll have to bite the bullet and pay for StreamYard. It's what's good.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not paying for any more things for a channel that makes no money. So
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not yet.
anyway, well, welcome to a live recording.
And happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Hope
And
you all have had a great week.
apparently some of you have a long weekend that I didn't know was a thing because I work in a hospital and there's just no such thing as holidays.
Yeah.
So it's
Us.
Veterans Day tomorrow.
Yes,
To
it
those of you
is.
who have Veterans Day off, to those of you
Yeah.
who served, thank you. Enjoy your day off. Get your
Yeah.
free Subway sub or whatever they're doing because that's equivalent to
They're always doing something. I know. Do you putting your life on the line to
here's
help our
here's a
sorry asses
coffee.
out?
Here's a coffee.
I would have been off tomorrow anyway because tomorrow is my regular day off. So that just means that I'm also off on Monday because when my RDO falls on a holiday, I get to shift it either a day before or a day forward. So
I feel like I need your job.
so long weekend for me.
I mean, no, it's not a long weekend for me. I'm off tomorrow, but I'm not off Saturday. So,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
and I'm on
Yeah.
call Sunday night. So it's really not
Blech.
much of. At least I'm not on call all day Sunday. That's coming. That'll come soon. I am overdue for a Sunday call. So
I feel like being
anyway,
on call is like you're still like mentally working
mm-hmm,
because you can't really do whatever you want to do because if you get called in, like
mm-hmm.
you're screwed. So it's like although you're home, you're not really free at home.
Mm-mm.
It kind of
Nope.
sucks.
It majorly sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's going on? What are you reading?
Alyssa, I'm reading so
What
many
have
books
you
right now.
currently finished? You are reading a lot. I am
I'm
not reading a lot. It's very confusing time.
I'm just going to talk about what I'm currently reading. I have a lot of books in the mix, but I am reading The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy. Kanoff, you just don't even know how much it delights me that you sent this to me. Do you know how much I love you? I mean, I don't know if the love is clear, but I love you all. Every time you all grace me with a book, I'm so thankful because I really like Cormac McCarthy and I really wanted to read this book. and what they're doing a month-long read-along with Ben. I'll put his Instagram in the show notes, and so there's going to be a discussion on both pages every Friday for the month of November. And the first discussion was really good, but so I'm going to read a little bit of the flap, and I hope my voice doesn't give out on me. It says, past Christian, Mississippi, 1980. It is 3 in the morning when Bobby Western zips up the jacket of his wetsuit and plunges from a Coast Guard tender into darkness. His dive light illuminates a sunken jet, 9 bodies still buckled in their seats, hair floating, eyes devoid of speculation. Missing from the crash site are the pilot's flight bag, the plane's black box, and the 10th passenger. But how? A collateral witness to machinations that can only bring him harm. Western person is shadowed in body and spirit by men with badges, by the ghost of his father, an inventor of the bomb that melted glass and flesh in Hiroshima, and by his sister, the love and ruin of his soul. This book is already so good. I'm only 106 pages in, but just it's Cormac McCarthy. The writing is phenomenal. He
Mm-hmm.
really just he really takes you there. What I just read about the bodies that were found on the plane, when we were reading that part, it was just, first of all, there was such a darkness and such a layer of like the sinister, and also a great mystery, and it just like took you into the depths of that plane, into that water, and it felt slightly creepy as well. I mean, he just really just threw all the things at you, and I just love his writing. I just love it. He is one of our greats. Cormac
I
McCarthy, The Passenger.
I I've never read a McCormick McCarthy.
I mean, I've only read The Road and Blood Meridian, but I think I have almost all of his books. So I'm slowly making my way through them, but I'm excited for this. And I think the next book, because this is a duology, I think the other one is called Stella Maris. I think that comes out in
Mm-hmm.
December.
I know he's got a bunch of stuff coming out,
Yeah.
and he's got a
So
pretty good backlist, and
the
people that
backlist is
like
incredible.
him are like in love with him.
It's the
But
writing. It's like, God dang it. It's
but
amazing.
I've never read any. Sorry, I'm trying to fix some of the back end stuff since we had to do a quick changeroo um, on the live stream. Anyway, so what the hell am I reading? So
Yeah, what do you got going on?
I recently finished, and by recently I mean about an hour ago. Even though I knew the end, you and I talked about this for a second this morning. CL Polk, and this was sent to me by Tor.com. I also got an ALC of it from Libro, so I also got to listen to it as well. And this was fantastic. It's hard for me to tell you too much about it because it is a novella, and if I tell you a lot, you will know the
You
whole
may
book.
spoil a lot. Yeah.
So I I need to like try to find you a summary. The problem with having an arc is they don't give you a summary, but essentially it's my brain broke. Oh my god, I've been doing too many things. It is like a crime noir book about um, these two women who are in a relationship, and their main character is sort of an outcast from her group of witches or Wiccan. Something happens and she gets exiled. So, anyway, so here's the summary. An exiled augur who sold her soul to save her brother's life is offered one last job before eternity in hell. When she turns it down, her client sweetens the pot by offering up the one payment she can't resist, the chance to have a future where she grows old with the woman she loves. To succeed, she must track down the White City vampire, Chicago's most notorious serial killer, in the 3 days she has left. If she fails, only hell and heartbreak await. So, our main character like knows that her relationship is short on time because she's gonna die. There's like a nice like little mix of magic and crime fiction. There's touches of commentary on things like religion and how we treat queer bodies, and it's just really really well done, and I wish it was longer.
Mm.
And not in the like it wasn't enough, it needed more to be. No, I just want more of it.
Yeah,
It's in
yeah.
like a gluttonous way. I wish it was longer.
Oh, like how I feel about every murder bot, before she put out the full length, novel. Yeah, it's just like I just want more. I just want more.
Yeah, I just want more of it. It was really lovely, and it's set in like a 1940s Chicago, so it's like a fun kind of feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this
It's
author has
good.
quite a bit of a backlist too, yeah?
They have a bunch of books. And I think I just got an email not too long ago about another one that might be coming out soon. So I mean, they have a lot. I don't know if it's he or she. They have a lot of books. Or maybe it's not a he or a she. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I just wanted to circle back on the below if interested in covering. Oh, it's cute. They're like, do you want to cover this book? Yes, I'm already covering it.
Doing it right now.
Doing it right now, Tor. Don't you worry. That's what I was, because it says C.L. Polk's World of Angels and Demons in 1940 Chicago, and I think I thought that meant that she has a new book called Angels and Demons. No, but yeah, fantastic. Definitely worth a read. We need help because you are just a phlegmy mess. And I'm
so sick.
I'm brain dead. I'm just brain dead. And I feel like this is the wrong time to talk about this amazing book when
I know.
We're so under the weather. But we have to talk about it. We have to talk about There. It is the time to talk about this.
It is the time.
I was watching some interviews like I usually do. I kind of go on YouTube and hunt down reviews and interviews and whatever media I can find on the books when we get ready for a live. And there were some really, really interesting interviews with Tommy Orange. And I think the thing that there were two things that were clear from all the interviews. The emphasis on identity for peoples that have had their cultural identity taken away from them. And there was an interesting exchange that he had with somebody who mentioned that the book was sad. And Tommy Orange said something about how he doesn't think particularly, like he's a sad person, but he doesn't particularly think of this book as being sad because
I didn't feel like
people
it was sad either.
Go through hard things. And if you go through hard things, then you look at things a little differently. And I guess there is a way to read this where it could come off as very sad. I mean, the ending is very dramatic and sad. There's a lot of drama that's occurring throughout the entire story. And if you're someone who maybe has never experienced or is sort of oblivious to it, maybe it is a sad story to you.
Interesting. Yeah, because I didn't walk away feeling that way, but I did walk away feeling very much like, oh, okay, I can relate to that. Oh, that's so familiar. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, especially those parts on identity that just resonated so deeply with me.
Yeah, I mean, there were like I would check out a lot of his interviews because they're really interesting, and he talks about growing up in Oakland and growing up, as somebody who is like racially ambiguous when you look at them, and what it's like to grow up like that. Getting slurs thrown at him, but they're not even the right slurs because they're for somebody else because they don't.
Right.
They can't really it's just like we're gonna hate, but we can't even hate appropriately.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a very interesting. I'm glad that I went down the road of looking up some of his interviews because I think that it's interesting to see his personal takes on what he wrote.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was your overall thought with everything?
My overall thought was I did think it was really good. While I enjoy interconnected short stories, sometimes for me it's hard for me to keep things together. But that's a me problem. That's not a Tommy Orange problem. Hi, Katie Books. That's a me problem. Sometimes I have a hard time just like keeping things together, and sometimes the way they're written, it may flow better for me in my brain or flow a little bit more awkwardly in my brain. But again, that's a me problem.
That's a you problem. So did you find it difficult to follow all the stories?
I got confused with some of the people at times. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I saw in some of the reviews I was reading. I don't feel like I got confused, but I was also reading this almost in one sitting, so it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
easy. And I don't know, Katie, have you read There? And I'm kind of scared to ask you that question because you shit on so many books. I mean, like, it's the worst book ever. But but I kind of read it in one sitting,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel I felt like there was a lot, but at some point it's like everybody and the way that they interconnect
Yeah.
and the way the stories, like when we get from San Francisco and Alcatraz, that piece of the story connecting with um
Okay. See.
two of our characters meeting later down the line in
Mm-hmm.
like an AA sort of situation. A lot of things clicked at that point, and like that's really when
Yeah.
all the people being sort of somehow related to each other in some way, whether actual like familial relations or just somehow their lives touched on each other, everything kind of fell into place. But I just really loved the almost rawness of how he approaches the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Um what was the other book we read?
Night of the Living Res.
Night in the Living Res is a little bit more like literary, like polished and like
I
kind of
would
like not
agree.
kind of nice. And this is a lot more like conversational
Yeah.
and conversation with somebody who doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that, considering the amount of times that we've had the discussion, you and I, about how little we know, like the average American, about the Native experience and history in this country, because it has been purposely taken out of our collective knowledge
Yeah.
because you have been trying to eliminate people. So I really appreciated like just an in your face, like raw representation of everything that we have done. And
Yeah.
I don't even think it was like I mean, there's anger in there, but it's not written in a way that is like it's a certain kind of anger. It is like you appreciate the anger. It is not I don't feel like
I didn't feel like it was angry like that. What I did feel like it was like I'm just reading someone's bare truth about a
mhm,
lot of things, about how they feel as we deal with their identity, with how they feel about other people trying to appropriate their identity or sit on their identity or ignoring it. I just felt like when someone is bearing their truth, it just reads in a more raw manner. And
yeah.
sometimes that can be interpreted as angry, but it's just, I think we're not used to people just bearing their souls.
But I don't think that anger is even a negative
Mm-mm.
thing here. It's just like it is true to the overall feeling. I like how much like we start off with these paragraphs of basic chunks of history
Mm-hmm.
of Native peoples, and you go
Yeah.
throughout, and there are chunks of history of Native peoples throughout. And I enjoyed having that woven into actual people narratives, like people
Yeah.
experiencing their lives. And I thought from this book, as somebody who is still trying to piece together an understanding of a history that was chopped up and like thrown to the four corners of the world,
Right.
um, I really appreciated those touch points in the historical record so that I could understand context, but also I could learn what I didn't know.
Yeah, and it also reminds us because I like that part in the beginning. It's the rolling head section, and it's just
Hmm.
talking about really how how Hollywood has portrayed Native Americans, and we must
Hmm.
always remember that we have all of these various images in our mind because of what we've seen on TV and on the big screen for movies, and those things linger and they last, and we
Hmm.
carry those those images from generation to like it doesn't change. We just keep pushing it on. And there's this one line that he wrote in that section. It says, the copy of the image of an Indian in a textbook.
Hmm.
Like that just kind of just seals the deal with all of that. But we have to really keep in mind that what we see in entertainment is often not the reality. but it feels like it is to us because that's really all that we see, because we very rarely get the actual truth. You're damn sure not going to get it in a lot of your schools when you're growing up.
Well, I mean,
So
we
sometimes
never
your
did.
first interaction, your first meeting with a lot of these things with cultural history is via a TV show or via a movie, and you take that for gold and you
Yeah.
share that with others, and that just keeps happening over and over and over again.
I think it's two pronged. There is the outside group, so like us looking in on something and an image of something that has been, cultivated by Hollywood, media, history, whatever the propaganda is. There's that, but then there's also looking at yourselves through that lens. And
Mm-hmm.
how do you, and this came up in one of his interviews, like, how do you understand yourself when you can't even see yourself in the way that you're represented? So, how
Yeah.
do you have a native identity or a Black identity or an immigrant identity or whatever your identity is? If you are outside and you have had some piece that's made your identity be removed from what it truly is, how do you find yourself in that?
Right.
How do you find the truth of yourself in that? And I think that oh God, sorry. I got added to a group chat in Spanish. So now, anyway. I now have to text between two different, oh my God, Google Translate is my friends. But anyway, but how do you find yourself? How do you understand self? How do you survive in a world where you as people have sort of been erased, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever is there isn't even true to who you are?
Yeah.
And that's how you bring in topics like alcoholism and how rampant they are in the Indian community. But I liked that Tommy Orange talks about, like, in the books, that talks about how that's not something that's special to
Right.
the Indian community or the Native
Right.
American communities. Um, but it is something that happens when people are oppressed,
Lost.
lost,
Yeah.
sad. Like, and we, the oppressors, do it to other people. We create situations where your only real access is to certain things, and we set you up for that failure. Um, and it's not a special thing. It's not a uniquely native problem.
Yeah.
And I really like that was very forwardly addressed.
I think if you are someone who was lucky enough to be able to hold on to, your culture and all of that good stuff, you don't know what it feels like to not have any of that information about yourself and from where you came from. You don't understand how the ground underneath you feels so wobbly, so shaky, when you don't have that foundational understanding of who you are, what is your lineage, where you came from, and you don't understand how that plays into your life when you're trying to like really figure out who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It has great effects to a person, to a people, to a community of people. So it's not something that we should just, dismiss. It actually has a lot of detrimental effects. So
Let's back up a second, because I feel like we just went right into this because neither one of us is okay in the head today. But
I
so
know.
we're following 12 different people and their 12 different stories. It's 12 of them, right? I feel
Don't
like it's a
ask
lot.
me.
It's
It's a
12 of
lot.
them. And all of these people are eventually converging on the big powwow out at
Hmm.
this big stadium in Oakland. And we weave through all these individual stories, and we see different lived experiences within an urban setting for native peoples, and we see how each of their lives differ but are also the same, and we see how they all kind of interconnect and relate
Hmm.
back on each other. And then when they get to the powwow, it is explosive. Is that a good way to
That's a
say
good
it?
way. Yes, that's a good way to say it. It is actually explosive.
And yeah, and there's like a propulsiveness to the whole novel. The
Hmm.
chapters start out like every viewpoint is kind of like steadily going along, same number of pages, same pacing, all of that. And then suddenly everything starts to get faster and
Well,
faster and
the
faster and
stakes are
faster.
high for a lot of
Yeah.
people in these stories. Like the stakes are high.
Hmm.
Like, things are happening, and they're ramping up. Because everything kind of like boils and comes to a head, and you do feel that in the
Yeah.
writing.
Do you want to talk about Dean Oxidine and his little project? Because I really
Yes,
enjoyed that entire. I enjoy his storyline, and I enjoy
I
what
like
he's
Dean.
doing.
Dean is not recognizably native. He is, well, he says, ambiguously non-white.
Hmm.
Yes, I do. I like his project a lot. It actually made me think about, wow, that kind of would be great. If someone could do that for my people. Like,
So he gets a grant. He's kind of a filmmaker, and he gets a grant to collect the stories of different Native people and just put them together in a collective experience of what does it mean to be Native, or what does it
right.
look like to be Native.
Yeah.
And I'm part of me reading this was like, well, did somebody actually do this? Because I would really like to see that, and I think that it would be a very valuable thing for people um, in that the other Native people to see.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Yeah.
like you said, you wish someone would do that for your people. I feel like it's something even as simple as when you're thinking about your own immediate familial history. I remember
Hmm.
as my grandfather was getting older, being like, I wish we could have had story time, like with a recorder or a camera.
Right.
Now extrapolate that out into a whole group of people.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, we should say that it was like a competition. He pitched this idea and he won, and won that grant money to see this project through. So that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, but they did have to go through quite a bit of racism on the way into that win, however,
Yeah.
which was incredible. It's very frustrating to read and watch, because you don't. It's like why was that necessary? Like that one judge being such a dick. Did he
Because
really need to be that much of a dick?
no,
Yeah.
but he probably couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I just feel like you know what? I think that we need to like really understand that a lot of times people just can't help being who they are, even if that means you're a racist dick.
I shouldn't laugh at
You know what I
that.
mean? You just can't help being who you are.
I mean, it's true. I mean, we are graced with the Boberts of this world, so uh,
Yeah.
whatever. We're gonna move on from that one. Sorry, I went down my own little rabbit hole quickly of how much I hate that woman.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he says, I want to do what I want to do is pay the storytellers for their stories. Stories are invaluable, but to pay is to appreciate. And this is not just qualitative data collection. I want to bring something new to the vision of the Native experience as it's seen on the screen. We haven't seen the urban Indian story. What we've seen is full of all kinds of stereotypes that are the reason no one is interested in the Native story in general. It's too sad, so sad it can't even be entertaining. But more importantly, because because of the way it's been portrayed, it looks pathetic, and we perpetrate that. But no, fuck that. Excuse my language, but it makes me mad because the whole picture is not pathetic, and the individual people and stories that you come across are not pathetic or weak or in need of pity. There is a real passion there and rage, and that's part of what I'm bringing to the project because I feel that way too. I will bring that same energy to it. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like Tommy Orange is Dean Oxidine,
Yeah.
and like this is
This
his
is his documentary, his story.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I love that so much because I think about it and I don't know, do you remember, it's just like I feel because we talk about this a lot, these like images that are burned into our memory. He talks about like
Yeah.
that coin or whatever that was on the TV screen that ran after like every
Oh.
television episodes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And that's like the image that's burned into everybody's head. And the first thing I thought of, and it ran through my mind as I went through this whole book, is do you remember, this is gonna be ridiculous. Do you remember that episode of Saved by the Bell where Zach Morris, there's some like old Native American guy that gives him some wisdom or something really stereotypical, and then he ends up like coming into the classroom and giving some presentation, he being Zach Morris in like full headdress, which would be totally getting your, like, that's all I could think about, like points throughout this entire story, like, especially when he would talk about that like Indian head coin thing on the TV screen. And I was like, oh my God.
That's funny. You thought about that, but I thought about that episode of The Golden Girls where Rose had on the Native American headgear and she like did the hoo hoo and everything and was walking out the door. And I was like, ooh, that did not age well. That did not age well. My brain immediately went to that episode.
And I think just you and I talking about this, you can see how sort of ingrained certain things are, because we keep trying to speak in respectful language. And I think we keep easily slipping back because we spent like years, like decades, with like a specific set of terms and things that were somehow acceptable. And without education, understanding, and reflection, how do you, you're not going to change the way you think.
Right. We weren't saying Native American in the 80s.
No, we weren't.
We said Indian, and then if you weren't sure which one, you would say red dot or feather.
Oh, God,
I didn't know which Indian group
you're talking imagine
about.
Like someone's gonna listen to this playback, be upset about it, but like we're not.
Hey, we're just telling. This is history. This is what we. This is what we used to say. This is what it was.
But like, and the book does highlight. I mean, it does speak to all this. There is this historical, like, created image and words and sort of, is doctrine a good word for it? For talking about Native American culture and people and history, and it's not accurate, and it's not real, and it's not respectful. And how do you get? I feel like this is a fight that's really hard to fight, because we did a really good job of making Native Americans an incredible minority in this country. And how do you fight that? Consistently make big wins.
I'm finding that I would like to do more reading on how Black people and Native Americans intersect, because there's so much.
There's a lot of intersection.
When Black people talk about the land that we're owed, that we're due from slavery, but it's like, but is it? That was stolen land already. It's just all very interesting to me. So I definitely want to like read more into how we like overlap and connect on a lot of these issues with
I want to try
the world.
You discuss. I need to find something for you.
Yeah. So there are all these things that I didn't think about before that I've been thinking about lately. And hell, I have Native Americans in my family. As a matter of fact, so my great grandmother, either my great or my great great grandmother. I know that it took us a long time to get information on her because she was documented as just Black, but she is in fact not. So that happened a lot too, back in the earlier days. Just the information not being accounted for correctly. And we talk about not knowing your culture. I barely know the Black side, let alone the Native American side.
Well, they talked about that, and it was kind of weird for me to like read it when I read it in Betty, because remember the dad is a Native American.
Oh, that's Betty. Right.
And the amount of times he like Black racial slurs are used against him, or he's treated like, I don't know. I guess it's just, you and I've talked about this before, where like I just don't understand it, because, and I'm not saying that I never do anything racist, because I probably do, because it's so ingrained in being a white person, right?
Yeah.
But it's really hard for me to understand being like intentionally cruel to people of any nature. So it's really hard for me to see like saying those words to a Black body to begin with, let alone using them on a completely different person, or not seeing that people are even different, that they're just, their only difference is that they're not you, that they're like are all kinds of different people in this world. And isn't it wonderful. There are all
Right.
kinds of different people in this world.
Right.
See, so I don't, yeah, it's, I feel like
I mean,
these are
that's
the kinds of the books that are like weird awakenings for me in terms
yeah.
of just how fucked up everything is. And the book, this is what I was looking when I was like talk. I read this a while ago and I need to own it, but it's an Indigenous People's History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. And they have a few other books. She has a few other books as well. This is a particularly interesting book, specifically talking about there, and that it is looking a revised look at American history, the American history that you know, through the lens of everybody who wasn't the winner, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically, an Indigenous lens. And it push back on like a lot of what were just facts that were accepted by myself because that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
And I'm not a history buff, and I'm not any of those other things. So I've never dug
Right.
any deeper. They're just kind of like things you learned at 12 that you just kind of like filed in the back of your brain and kept going with your
For
life.
sure.
And then then somebody challenges that with more facts, and you're like, well, damn it, why didn't they teach me that?
I know. I know. I know. It's there's so much more to learn. There's so much more to learn, but this topic in particular, I'm really wanting to understand more of and really get a good grasp on it.
But to just go back to you talking about having some part of your heritage that's native. Um, there is the interlude in here somewhere where he talks about all of the different ways of being, like the percentages of being native and the way that being native is broken down. And what's interesting to me is I was not aware until recently how how, there was all these rules of how you claim a tribal membership or like affiliation, or claim like there has to, like the amount of, there's all these like ratios and
Yeah.
things that like go into actually making you native or not, or like native enough or not. And I think that is like another layer of trying to figure out your identity, because like, are you
Mm-hmm.
native enough? And I think one of our characters in here grapples with that, like, am I native enough?
Right. Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
there has historically been this system of like, you have to be X% of X to claim that affiliation or whatever. And I don't, I, I'm hesitating on this because I don't know all of the facts, but it's my general understanding. And that has to be so difficult, adding that layer in, that even amongst people that you should be able to relate to, there could be a further breaking it all down into like how much you can identify as one thing or another. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't even think I'm making any sense. I think
Yeah.
this is why we've
You
hesitated having
know,
these
no,
discussions,
you
because
are.
so much of it is like us just being like, well, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, you are. Look, I identify as black. Let's just get that clear right now. I am aware that I have Native Americans in my family, but I identify as black, period. I don't know enough about the Native side to say anything else is that other than what I just said. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
it's hard enough to track down the black folk in my line of family, let alone going down the Native American side. We're still trying to track down the black folk. And that is a hard
Yeah.
task. And we are always actively researching and finding new family members and finding out new information. So that's a task of its own.
Yeah. I This has all been very, I mean, I really do hope that we both, not just on our own, but like
Yeah.
together, continue to read more from the native experience, because like I
Yeah.
just don't know. And I just think that speaks so
Yeah.
much, so loudly, that to what we are taught and how much is lacking
Mm-hmm.
generally. And it needs to change. And it will only change with purposeful action,
Yeah.
because people are, nobody else is going to change it unless you change it. So you have to actively seek out, you being like you and me and stuff, have to seek out the stories and the narratives and books like the Indigenous Peoples History of the United States and stuff like that to school ourselves, because we're not getting it anywhere else.
Exactly. Exactly. I think you're talking about the character Calvin. He's the
Yes.
one that says, "My dad never talked about being a native," and shit, to
Mm-hmm.
the point that we don't even know what tribe we are on
Mm-hmm.
his side. Our mom has native blood on her Mexican side too, but she doesn't know too much about that either. Yeah, and my dad wasn't home hardly ever. Then one day he was really gone. He left us. So I don't know. I feel bad sometimes even saying I'm native. Mostly I just feel like I'm from Oakland.
Yeah.
And then he goes on further to say, I just don't think it's right for me to claim being native if I don't know anything about it. I feel that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This book was just so good, and I would like to reread it after I've done more reading,
Mm-hmm.
because there were just so many things. Like when they're on Alcatraz, I remember when I went to Alcatraz. When you go there, there's like all these pictures, and they like briefly mentioned the occupation of Alcatraz, but I didn't really understand it. And like it wasn't part really of any of the tours or anything like that.
Yeah.
So nobody was really piquing my curiosity about it. And I was younger, and I was like, mostly just focused on, oh, I'm going on vacation.
Yeah.
But now as I'm older, I'm like, God, I wish I had taken that opportunity to ask more questions, to have like figured out more, because I'm reading this, and I'm reading about these people and their lives, like sleeping in the jail cells at Alcatraz in
Mm-hmm.
protest. And I want to know more about what got them there, what got them out of there, like what, that, and
Right.
what other things occur that we just don't really, that we sort of brush over.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But, a lot of this, um, just speaking from the black perspective, a lot of this is so relatable too, because I don't know what African tribe my people came from. Like, how do
Hmm.
you even get that information? Like, I don't know. There's so much not knowing, and you want to identify with where you came from, but you just don't know. So it does feel like a lot of times, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like a deep black hole inside of you. Like you're trying to fill it up with the right information about who you are and where you came from, and you just can't get it.
I mean, I think that you see different people trying to fill that hole throughout the whole story. And I really liked
Mm-hmm.
Orville's the one, right? Orville's the young
The
kid who
grandson,
goes.
yeah.
And I loved Orville's embracing of his culture. And
Mm-hmm.
like when they finally get to the powwow, I mean, I have a little note here, and they're going through all the dancing and the costumes and all the everything. And it just all sounds, my note is like, it sounds real, so beautiful. It sounds like the most glorious spectacle of joy that you've ever seen. And then I think
Yeah.
back to the beginning of this book, and there's a passage that, when I mirror it to like Massacre as a prologue, some of us grew up with stories about massacres, stories about what happened to our people not so long ago. And it keeps going on, and it goes through and talks about how um, then they took our body parts as trophies and displayed them on the stage in downtown Denver. Colonel Shivington danced with the dismembered parts of us in his hands with a woman's pubic hair, drunk and danced. He danced, and the crowd gathered there before him. Like that mirroring image of those
Yeah.
two things was so hard, because like in that opening scene I said, but because we like to throw this term around about savages and taming the
Oh
savages and
yeah.
making and giving them sophistication and whoever, but like who's the savage,
Who's the
who's the
savage?
savage? It's because it's not the people dancing beautifully and
Exactly.
embracing their culture and like no,
But
and
this is the propaganda of
this
white
is the proper.
supremacy.
I'm fully aware of
You know,
of
it's
my contributions to society. Okay, I didn't agree to it, but I know what we did.
but you see, like, I mean, it's man, it's strong and it's woven into everything.
But like it hit so hard when I got to that part, and
Yeah.
I flipped back and I was like, this is just it makes me sad. like for me, it's a sad book at times because it's sad for I'm sad for my ancestral contribution to this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how there is no way to go backwards. There's only a way to go forward.
Absolutely.
So like the easy thing, it would be so easy if you could go backwards and be like,
Right. Just redo it. Just redo.
and
Yeah.
everything's fine. And you can't do that. So the hard part is fixing it from here. And
Yeah.
I don't know what to say other than that. Really, really, really like.
You know what part I really, really
Heavy
like is
sigh.
that section on last names where it says we didn't have last names before they came. When they decided they needed to keep track of us, last names were given to us, just like the name Indian itself was given to us. These were attempted translations and botched Indian names, random surnames, and names passed down from white American generals, admirals, and colonels, and sometimes troop names, which were sometimes just colors. That's how we are blacks and browns, greens, whites, and oranges. We are Smiths, Lees, Scotts, MacArthurs, Shermans, Johnsons, Jacksons. Our names are poems, descriptions of animals, images that make perfect sense and no sense at all. We are Little Cloud, Little Man, Lone Man, Bill Cumming, Mad Bull, Bad Heart Bull, Jumpy Bull, Bird, Bird Sheet. He goes on and on. And I was like, God, just the constant ripping of your culture and even your name. It's just
I mean, we perfected destroying cultures.
yeah.
And like I have to go back and read this, but like I did not realize this that we have the literal mourning tear-ridden Indian in the commercial, also Iron Eyes Cody, and the sing tossing crazy Indian who was the narrator in the novel of the voice of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We have all the logos and mascots, the copy of a copy of an image of an Indian in a textbook. You read that part, but what I didn't realize is that that crazy Indian in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's the narrator, that is everything, is just like one character in the movie, is not as grand as the text of the actual story. Like they are the entire narrator of a text and they become whittled down in Hollywood into just essentially like a crazy type character.
Okay.
And I've never read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Me neither.
And I think I need to read it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because like I just think it's like I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I certainly didn't. I certainly did not.
So yeah, Mel Gibson made that up. Oh, God, Mel Gibson. Sorry, just randomly catching tidbits and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, we could. There's. I don't know. I don't know how much you want to go into all the different people and all the different stories and where everybody like converges and all of that. Or so much like this is us sort of just reacting to the overall experience of reading this book.
I mean, we can do whatever you want. I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. I know
you're just sick that I can tell you anything at this point, and you'd be like,
and I will go along with it. I am sick.
Here for this, Alyssa.
I am here. I am here.
We're gonna rob the powwow. Why do those kids, those poor stupid kids?
Oh, with their big Ocean's 11 moment,
with their 3D printed guns. And
yeah. They had to get that money. They had to get that money. But it's like, you do this to your own people.
Yeah.
You do this to your own people at this very special, very important, very big deal of an event for your people. Like, it was a huge thing, big competition. People look forward to this. And the fact that you would do that to your own people, it's like, the youth. The youth.
Were you like yelling at the book? I was like yelling at the book.
I was like, "Are you? Why you?" Yes, I
I was
was.
like, children.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wanted to like it, like sort of old, sort of.
I mean, I had to get off my lawn moment with those kids. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
did.
was like, I kind of want to like drag them by the shirt collar and like
Yeah, I wanted to pull them up. Give
give
them a
them,
couple of spankings, put them in the
yeah,
corner, take away their Xboxes and their phones.
and their 3D
Yeah,
printers.
and their 3D printers, all of that. Yeah, I had a total get off my lawn moment. Yeah.
Uh,
You know who I also really liked aside from Dean is Jackie Redfeather.
yes,
I
her
really, really
stories.
liked her.
Her story's sad.
Yeah. She kind of, I think more than anyone, I think she captured my heart the most. I
Yeah.
like when she where were they at when she was giving her when she stood up and talked about how they've really got to come together because too many of their young are unaliving themselves, and she's
Mm-hmm.
like, look, if we are not going to be the ones to do the right thing to really help these kids, then we need to step aside and let others who truly want to help go ahead and help these kids out, because the one thing they do have control over is making the decision on whether or not they want to remain alive or not.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so powerful, and I don't know, I just kind of really felt her heart in that moment, and
Okay.
I really enjoyed her.
What I'm here to talk about is how our whole approach since day one has been like this. Kids are jumping out the windows of burning buildings, falling to their deaths, and we think the problem is that they're jumping. This is what we've done. We've tried to find ways to get them to stop jumping, convince them that burning alive is better than leaving when the shit gets too hot for them to take. We've boarded up windows and made better nets to catch them, found more convincing ways to tell them not to jump. They're making the decision that it's better to be dead and gone than to be alive in what we have here. This life, the one we made for them, the one we've inherited, and we've either involved and we're either involved and have had a hand in each one of their deaths, just like I did with my brother, or we're absent, which is still involvement. Just like silence is not just silence, but it is not speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
How do we instill in our children the will to live?
There you have it. Yeah.
I feel like you could go almost line by line in this book, and it is. I think the reason why there's always been so much buzz about this book from day one is that there is so much in each and every line of this book.
Yes. Yes.
There is no fluff. There is no padding. There is a clear story, but every sentence has a purpose and is telling you something that you need to know
Yes.
about the people in the story, but also about the people this story represents.
I just got distracted. I'm gonna try not to cry because Caleb just made honor roll. Okay, I'm having a moment. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. My grandson is 10th, 5th grade, and I just looked at his report card and he made honor roll. Okay, I need to keep it together. Sorry, folks. Let me get myself together. Hang on.
I think that he
I'm
deserves
having
a
a
new
moment.
Switch game. He deserves a new Switch, Grandma.
Okay. Sorry. One of my greatest joys in life is being a grandparent. I'm having a moment. Okay. All right. Sorry, folks. Back on track. Back on track. Okay.
Congratulations to Caleb.
Yes, he loves Alyssa.
He's like my favorite little best friend. We have the same interests. I'm a 10-year-old boy. I never aged out of 10-year-old boy.
He has the Switch. What did you get, the Switch,
The
Switch. OLED thing?
OLED one.
And
Yeah.
he wants one for Christmas.
Yeah.
Alyssa's writing a novel. Caleb wrote his first story over the summer, his little short story.
In 11 years, I'll take him for a drink. We'll be best buds. It'll be.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna cry my eyeballs out when this live is over. Yeah. So Jackie Redfeather.
I like Jackie Redfeather, but
I
like
liked her a lot.
but that whole scene where what's his face shows up, I just feel like it's
What is it? Harry? No, that's not
Harvey.
Harvey. Still an asshole.
He's still a fucking asshole.
Still an asshole. I don't think really. takes any responsibility for what he got Jackie into.
No.
You know what I mean? Just
I can't believe she even spoke to him, and I can't believe she didn't punch him in the face, because I like how would you get in a car? Like I would not. I would not. I would not have been okay. I
but
would
what?
not have been able to like keep my shit together to any
Yeah,
extent that she did, like she did in this whole story.
yeah. I mean, she definitely took the high road, or maybe it was just they're going to they want to find this daughter. They want to meet this daughter. The daughter's what, like 40 something they said, and so
Yeah.
maybe she was so focused on that part that focusing on him and what he did really became like the smaller issue
Yeah.
because the stakes were higher with them going to see this daughter.
Maybe. I don't know. I still kind of want to punch him.
I mean, I kind of want to punch him too because he's still an asshole and kind of like unapologetic about what happened in the past. And I don't know. It's just I don't know. He's kind of a douche.
He was kind of a douche. But what can you do? I do love little Orville.
Yeah.
All the kids in this book are really. I feel like the kids have a whole different tone to all of the adults. There's like a playfulness about the kids, even the kids that are doing bad things. Like they're doing
Yeah.
bad things, but they're doing them like children. Like there's
Right.
naivete and just like a total lack of understanding. And like
Exactly.
they are not weighed down in the same way that their parents are or
I
the
mean,
other
yes.
adults are. I'm
Even
not saying
as
that they
they're
aren't free of things, but it's a different. It's so clearly different perspectives and ways of dealing with things.
oh yeah. Even
Which
as
is
they're planning this big, thing of stealing this money, they're not even remotely thinking about how badly and how quickly this could all turn. Like that is like nowhere in any of their minds. Like, you know what? This could actually get ugly, and you know what else? Someone actually could get hurt. Completely oblivious.
because that's what kids are
Completely.
like. Because kids are like, there's no big box thinking. It's just, I want this thing. Oh, I came up with the plan.
Exactly.
Spent zero time looking at consequences. Execute
Exactly.
the plan.
And look at
Plan
this
goes
cool 3D gun.
horribly awry. Like
Mhm.
horribly. You put so much effort into figuring out how to print a 3D gun.
Although that kid was worried.
Yeah.
The one, like he
But of
was
course that
worried.
kid was worried because that's the kid who
Yeah,
had enough brain cells to be like,
exactly.
wait a minute. I can see how this might be a problem.
Right. Like he was really I think he foresaw what was going to happen, you know what I mean? But like the train was already moving.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? The
Yep.
train's gone. It's left the station.
You're not calling it back now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was kind of like when we got to the powwow, like I was kind of excited for Harvey to meet his no wait, not Harvey. Yeah, Harvey and Jackie to meet the daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and for who was meeting their dad? Was that Dean?
No, I thought it was Calvin.
Calvin to meet his dad.
Right, because Calvin's the kid who just sits home all day and plays video games.
Right.
Yeah.
But then like you can feel in the writing that like oh no, something bad is going to happen. Like you could just feel it. And I was like, all I could think was, please, I don't want Jackie to die. That's all I could. Please, I don't want Jackie to die. I just, like let her make it out of whatever's getting ready to happen. Please get her out safely.
Yeah. It was one hell of an ending. I don't want to talk about it too much because I kind of feel like if for some reason you didn't read this when it came out like 4 years ago, 6.
Well, I thought it was longer than that. Let me look at the.
Is it 19?
Oh, it's okay. 2000. Well, 2018.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, but I still feel like I don't. Do you think this is a book that was like really hyped and talked about? Do you think? Because I don't know.
I feel like it got a little buzz, at least just from like literary circles. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because it was one of the New York Times 10 best books of the year and a Pulitzer finalist.
And it was long listed for something. It was long listed for something else too, I think. But anyway, it was not like a Booker or anything like that. But
Okay.
um, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, again, overall, I really, really enjoyed the stories. I really enjoyed this. Has he written anything
I was
else?
about to say, I think he has a new book coming out soon,
Oh, if so, that's exciting.
and I really would like to read whatever else he's. Because I didn't know anything about this book. I picked it up at the book barn because I was like, "That's a pretty orange cover. What's that?" And then I read the inside of it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this sounds good." So
Okay, let me tell you something crazy. I
what?
have known about this book the last 3 years, and this is so weird because every time, and now I don't understand why they say this, but like I have seen a lot of blogs, where I'm like looking for like horror stuff, and this book will be on there.
As horror?
Yes. So now I'm very confused.
Well, I'm not confused because clearly people are stupid. So all that is
But that's how I
confirm
found out
that
about this
belief.
book
From
from
a
from
horror? From
me digging trying to
horror?
find like horror books by people of color, and this book has been listed on so many. That's how I found out about it.
There by Tommy Orange, not like There
Yep.
There by
They're
some
there by
author
Tommy
in
Orange. That's why it's been on my list for so long.
so you
It's
were
so
expecting
strange.
a horror book when you
Yes,
went into
ma'am.
this?
Yes,
Oh, so
ma'am.
what a trip you had when you
Yeah.
started reading this.
Yeah. But I'm thinking the people that list this on these blogs of
Have
horror
never
novels by
read it
people of color, how did you like? I don't
because they've
understand.
never read it because they probably one stupid person put it on there, and then from there on out,
They're
it's
just
just
copying and pasting, and we've talked about that before,
copy.
haven't we?
Yes, we have when we went on our dark academia like deep dive,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the hell is dark academia,
Um,
and then I threw you for a loop.
newsflash, we still don't know.
I was like, and then I threw you for a weird loop with light academia.
Oh yeah, you really messed me up with that one.
I mean, apparently, like anything is dark. We're not going back on the dark academia
Okay, I'm
track.
sorry.
Shut up, Alyssa. Shut
Okay,
up,
so
Alyssa. Shut
let's
up.
get back on
Stop.
the Tommy Orange train. So I see that.
Ugh.
Oh, so he has a. Is this a?
I thought he had a new book coming out
Well,
soon,
I see
or
something from
allegedly.
2018 called The State.
I don't know what that is.
Maybe
I
it's
don't
just a
see
short
it.
story.
It might be a short story because I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I guess he only
Um,
has There. I really thought he was coming out with something else soon.
maybe we just really want him to. I mean, because this was very well done. Very well done. I highly recommend you all read it if you haven't already.
Yes, it's definitely 100% worth a read and a reread and then another reread and have a pencil and some flags in hand
I did
because
read it
you're gonna.
twice.
Yeah, you did.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not a very long book, and like I said, it does move really quickly. I don't know what my hair is at this point.
I don't know
It
what my stopped up nose is at this point, but it's fine.
it it's 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 really good, and it's
It,
gonna
it
make you
really is.
think, and it's gonna make you reflect on a lot of things that you've got so wrong in your life.
But I think you have a good idea, Alyssa. I think that your idea of reading other books about Native Americans and then coming back to this later on after reading some more books would be a really interesting experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the whole structure of this book and that layering of like people in history and people in history in such an approachable way that makes
Hmm.
this book much more powerful than even like I can't remember its stinking name. Night of the Living Res.
Ah, yeah,
Um, because Night of the Living Res was good, but it
it was.
wasn't as impactful as this. Because this is so
It was different though. It
the
was so
tone is
different.
so different, and or at least for me, because of the difference in tone, this book is
Yeah,
more impactful to me than the other one.
but the topics are
To
so
me
different too, though.
specifically, they are different, and I think they're different
Yeah,
places. There is purposefully not on a reservation and is talking about another form of native experience, and Night of the Living Res is like on the reservation and in a
Yeah,
different, it's a whole different setting.
it is. It
Um,
is.
but
Yeah.
the tone is just, I don't want to say softer because that makes it sound like it's like nice. It's still heavy hitting on things, but it's done in like a maybe quieter is a better way
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
describing it. Um,
Yeah.
and there is anything but quiet.
Right. I just think there is a much bolder book.
Hmm.
It's very bold.
Hmm.
Oh man, highly recommend.
So
Fantastic
good.
job, Tommy Orange. You got two new
because
fans. You got two new
because the
fans.
100% listening to this.
You know, I can dream. I can dream that somewhere Tommy Orange just thought, you know what? I just heard about this podcast called TBR Lowdown, and I'm gonna check it out. A girl can dream. I hope he has something new coming out. I don't see any
I don't see it either,
whisperings
but
of it.
where did I hear that? I swear I heard somebody say something, or maybe I just had a fever dream.
And I mean, look, you and I are both getting emails right now to choose books that are coming out all the way through April of next year. And I haven't seen
Mhm.
Tommy Orange anywhere. Um, but
Yeah,
hey, who knows? Who knows? But I'm
yeah.
glad that we finally got around to
Me
reading
too.
this. Because I feel like you mentioned us wanting you mentioned us wanting to read this
Yeah,
for the book club, I think like a year ago.
yeah.
So I'm glad that we finally got a chance to do that.
I've been eagerly awaiting some of our end of year picks, most of our end of year picks. I've been really excited for. Like they're super excited for.
In
This
December.
month's pick, I'm really excited for. You made a fool of me with your, you made a fool of death with your beauty. So
Come
excited to
on,
finally
Florence and the
read
Machine
that.
lyrics. That's what that is. That's a
I
Florence and the
was
Machine lyric.
I was going to read it earlier because you got me the arc, thank you. But when it came, when we decided to make it a book club pick, I was like,
Hmm.
let's just, I'll hold off and I'll wait, you know. So it's on my very short TBR for this month, and then next month is, oh God,
Our Wives Under
Wives Under
the
the
Sea.
Sea,
I
and I
am
am
excited.
so excited for that book.
Yes.
And I need to get myself a copy of the UK cover because I like the
Yeah.
UK.
That's where I'm getting mine
So
from too.
So I'll have to put that order in at some point
Yeah.
before December. But yeah, no, I'm really, really excited for the end of the year. Oh my God.
Me
And then we
too.
have to think about January.
Oh, so I mean, we have our meeting after this anyway. We have our planning meeting, so which I'm excited about. But I'll be doing that from my bed. Okay. Yeah,
From the bed.
from my bed with
I'll
tea.
be,
Yeah.
I'll be
Uh
in
huh.
the bed.
Yeah. I'll be in the
How are
bed
we doing? You'll
with my
be in the
laptop.
bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the case, then do you want to give the peoples a final book recommendation,
I do. I
and then
do.
we'll get you some tea and into bed. And I just want to say before we wrap up that, like, I just would blanketly apologize if anything in like the processing of this book and discussing the processing of this book came off as offensive in any way to anybody at all, because this isn't, Naomi and I are kind of like working through our feelings and still figuring out and learning and revising things that we had always known as fact
Oh
or
yeah.
true or
We're
as
always revising.
accepted. And
Mm-hmm.
so there is a huge potential, especially as this sits on the internet for a long time, for it to become um, offensive in some way here
Right.
or there. And that was never the intention of this. These are two old ladies just talking
Yeah.
through what was a phenomenal book and
Yeah.
an incredibly eye-opening and moving book as well. So just give that lip service
Also,
to
if
the future
anyone
listeners.
right. Also, if anyone has any book recommendations,
Hmm.
nonfiction or fiction, regarding Native Americans, please drop them in the comments or DM us on Instagram at TBR Lowdown. We would love to get those as well.
And I would say, like, almost any indigenous story, or native people's story, because I feel like the stories are very similar wherever white bodies were, there was an erasure of
Mm-hmm.
any non-white body. So I think
Yeah.
that all stories are welcome and valid, and add to the collective narrative of
Mm-hmm.
the Indigenous experience.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
so yeah, because this is going to be on the internet and the internet's forever. And I just wanted to make sure that that was in there somewhere.
Yes.
Because times are going to change. Language is going to keep changing. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
keep changing. And it's important to know that like we are like in our infancy of our understanding of this experience.
Infancy. Infancy.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so what's your book rec?
My book rec is a reread that I just started rereading today. Yeah! I'm rereading Wanderers by Chuck Wendig.
Chuck Wendig.
Why am I rereading this, you say?
Because there's
Why?
another book out.
Because, so first of all, this was never supposed to be a series, right? It was a standalone. Mm-hmm. And then Chuck Wendig one year was like, hey, guess what? You're going to get another book. And we're getting one. And so the sequel is called Wayward, which comes out, I think, next Tuesday. I have it on pre-order, so I'm excited about it. So the first time I read this, I read it physically, and it was a joy. So this time I decided to listen to it. Audiobook is pretty good. So, this is one of those books where, for whatever, I always think about this book. I just really liked it. I'm very excited for the sequel. So this is what I'm reading. So Wanderers opens with a young girl who appears to have run away. But come to find out, she hasn't. She's just down the road walking. And so her sister goes after her. And oddly and weirdly enough, the sister has no recollection of her surroundings. She's just walking. She is not really alert or in tune to anything. She can't hear the sister who's trying to talk to her. She can't really see her.
I'm just laughing because it's like me at about like, I don't know, hour. It's at the end of my shift.
It's crazy. She's just walking, and as hard as the sister tries to stop her, like in place, she can't. As a matter of fact, when she tries to stop her, the sister gets like really, really hot in body temperature. It's almost like she's getting ready to like boil and like blow up. So she's trying to figure out like what's going on. And so more people begin to join this collective line of all these people just walking, but we don't know to where. We don't know what's going on. It's not like they look different. They're not like the zombies you see on TV.
Yeah.
There's no answers to anything. They're just walking, but they appear to be going towards something, but no one can figure out what it is. So family members have decided to, pack up their cars and follow their family members, to kind of find out, what's going on and to keep them safe. And it was just a great book. That's all I'm going to say, because we have a big twist and I don't want to ruin that, but it was a really interesting read. It was really fun. There's some great characters along the way. And the first time I read this, I just devoured it. And so this was Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. The sequel, Wayward by Chuck Wendig, is coming out November 15th, I believe.
I feel like you've talked about this a few times.
I have.
On the podcast.
I have.
That's how much she loves this book. And I feel like at some point I will have to read it just to make you happy.
I think you're going to hate it.
Why do you think I'm going to hate it?
I don't know. I just think you're not going to like it, which makes me want to make you read it, because I do really believe you're going to hate it. I don't know why, but like when I read this, I'm like, I don't think Alyssa's going to like this book. And it's a tricky book for me to just be like, oh, just read it.
I just
this is gonna like take up some time, and it's a 30-hour audiobook.
I also wonder why you want me to read a book that you think I'll hate. I feel like that's not a very friendly thing to say.
Well, now that I'm saying it out loud to you, now I just want to know if I'm right. This is what it boils down. I just want to know if I'm right. Okay. This is all that is. Was I correct? Did she hate it?
I guess maybe one day we'll find out. Such a weird thing to say to me.
I know.
Read this. I think you'll hate it.
I'm not even on any cold medicine. This is all raw, folks. It's all raw.
This is just, it's something. It's all wrong is what it is. Anyway, I decided that since it was pretty serious today. We're having serious discussions that we're going to end on a slightly less serious note. And so I also decided at this exact moment to try to take the sticker from Savers off the back of it. So good job, Alyssa. Anyway, So I figured I'm just going to recommend a good old favorite of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, because
Goodness.
if you need a moment of just ridiculousness, there's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies in this world. I don't need to explain this to you. It's Pride and Prejudice, and there are zombies.
Should I not have unhauled that book?
It's a ridiculous time. I'm not going to say that it's a good book. It's not a good book. But it is a ridiculous time, and I enjoyed the ridiculous time. And I also, dare I admit this on the internet, enjoyed the movie.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
If you ever wanted Wickham to get his comeuppance in just a truly spectacular way,
Oh, Daddy got him.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, folks. Now I really want to watch that tonight.
Oh,
I mean, I could. There's no reason why I couldn't.
yeah, that's right. That's
Maybe
right.
I'll do that. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Stardew Valley like I do every day.
All right. Wait, give the title of the author again.
Oh, okay. So it's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and it's by Jane Austen and Seth Graham-Smith.
Boom.
But most importantly, it's by Jane Austen. They got together and they made this story. There was a seance. It was a whole thing.
Basically.
It's a New York Times bestseller, Amy.
Of course it is.
It's fantastic.
Before
There
we
are
get out of
others.
here- Oh, wait.
There are others. There is like Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, I think.
Oh my god.
And
are
I
you
think
kidding
there's
me?
another one before that, but I can't remember. There are a couple.
I
There are
kind
a
of
couple.
love that.
I mean, the whole book is fantastic. I mean,
I love her little hiya.
Naomi,
I love it.
It is a vibe.
I just unhauled that book this year because I was like,
What?
I'm not going to read it. So I was like, oh wait,
You've never read it?
I never read it. I've been getting like super hardcore
Naomi,
about
you've
unhauling
never
books.
read it?
I never read it. And when I looked at it, I was like, I'm not going to read it. So I was like, in the bag you go, off to McKay you go to get traded and give mama some store credit.
Shit, if it wasn't in the middle of Nano, I might read it right now. Just for fun. I mean, come on.
I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, you're making me somewhat regret it, but you know, like that book is always at McKay. So
I'm not saying it's a good book. I'm just
you're
saying,
just saying it's fun to read.
It has its time and place.
I'm here for it.
That is all.
I'm here for it. Well, I have one bit of congratulatory news, and it's a congratulations to the Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette, I think Mayer. This is the winner of the 2022 Scotiabank Giller Prize.
Oh,
And
did you finish it?
No, I haven't, but I just got back into it like last week, so I'm gonna finish it this month. But thank you again, Coach House of Books, for this recommendation. I mean, for this gifted copy. Congratulations, Suzette.
That's lovely.
Congratulations. It's wonderful.
Oh, all right. I think we need to put you to bed.
Meetings from the bed. Meetings from the bed.
All right. Welcome to the lives. Welcome to the lives.
Welcome to the lives. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're done. I'm out of here. That's
we were done like an hour ago.
I was done before we started. I forgot to blow my nose. All right. Bye.
Bye. I forgot I have to end it because